Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season of AI. And today we are excited to have Sangeetha Vengatesan ma'am, quality analyst at TCS with us, who will be delivering a powerful session on AI and MCP. So, if you are looking to stay ahead in the world of MCP, this is a session you won't want to miss. So, without any further delay, I would like to invite ma'am to take us on this exciting journey of AI and MCP.
Hi, Sudan. So, thanks for the brief introduction. I'm very happy to be here so that I can interconnect with the people who is having hungry and to learn new technology and new AI technology and to like to grow their career. So, thank you so much for introduction and hello everyone. So today we are going to see about the MCP from the basic level to advanced level. You know, right? So in this world, AI is dominating everywhere. So without AI, we can't live, we can't eat, we can't get any knowledge currently. So in this session, we will know about what is MCP and how this is working in every even part of our life and how it will be using in our career growth and what are the procedure to go and even for an example even I do not have any knowledge on AI but what is the procedure to get the knowledge in AI and second thing even I'm experienced but I want to enhance my knowledge on that AI. So if you're in the A category or if you're in the B category, no matter what, it will be very useful a session to all of us. So even if I am teaching you, I am also one of the learner to learn every new thing. So there is no matter on a fresher experience and pro level experience person. When it comes to AI, each and every day we need to learn something which is very helping to use in our uh, career goal. So today we are going to see about the fully concept. So just give me a minute. I'll share my screen. I hope it's visible to everyone. So I'll start. So you know, right? What is MCP? So MCP is nothing but it's a model context protocol. So what is the use of model context protocol? Because in the AI, many technologies are there. So for an example, if you go with it, the GitHub Copilot is one of the things, and Azure AI Foundry is one of the things. So these things are in running away in this part. But what is the key factor? It is to enhance the knowledge in MCP. So it's nothing but we need to focus this MCP because it's an upcoming trending technology. So for that reason only we are seeing what is MCP. So you know right what is MCP. So this is the one of the foundation. So in simple way, what we are going to inform is MCP is the standardized protocol which is enable AI model to the security connect with external data source and tools, and it's also using to creating more powerful and contextually of our AI application. So in before we are using many application, right? So in that application we are not sure about the uh, securely connection or not. If we are using external data, what is our privacy and what's our security and what's our company protocol. So these things are we need to focus. So when it's come to that incident, when it's come to that part, we should focus this MCP. So in this common way we can think about what is the MCP. So if the think of MVP is a universal translator. Okay, so what it will do, it's allow AI model to communicate with the database, API, and other systems seamlessly because we need to get the data. For an example, if you're storing many kind of data in big data, right? So in big data, if you are using any query language for SQL query or KQL query, so if you are using this kind of things, that time you need to take the data whichever you want. That's we called from the database. And API, you know, right? So API we are using for a security purpose. So privacy and security, when it comes to QA, we are using API testing as well. So in that part, whatever my intention, that's like whatever the client requirement, is it working or not? Is it giving a correct expected result or not? Is it giving any error while the user is accumulating their services? So to avoid those incidents, to accumulate all those things within a solution, means we can use with the MCP. So other than that, what we can do is this protocol bridges the gap between isolated AI model and the rich ecosystem of external root and data source. So with using of MCP, we can interconnect with from that one to this one. That means because many AI models are accumulated and it's a combined, but few models are isolated things. So when it comes to isolated, I need to I need to get that AI model in my own project. So I need to use that AI model. Then we can go with the isolated AI model. And isolated AI model we have. But what about the database? So we need to connect with the a server, right? Because if you are using server, the client hub or a hub or a child, parent or child. So that time we need to connect with the highly performance usage. So for that reason only, that ecosystem we will connect using data source. And we knew about what is MCP, but we want to know about the architecture because we want to know about the architecture of MCP. Then only we are able to know. Okay, these things we are using this one. These things are using this one. Okay, so to know about this architecture, it has the client server model. So it's operating client service model. So where it operates, the thing is, its application act as a client and external server, I mean external resources act as a service because I need to get the data from the external resources. So that is the server. My project is the client. So we need to use this kind of uh, uh, um, a client and server model in this one. So in the left image, you can see that AI application. So AI application is nothing but client user in my own project, but we need to build in the AI, right? So we are going to do that AI application, and we know that is a server. So server is nothing but external resources. So external resources, so what are we going to do? So the external resources means I put here few points, right? The protocol define standardized message. So standardized message is nothing but, for an example, if you're in a customer service, the chatbot will give the static message to the user. It doesn't change based on the user question. Whatever it has, it will give the standardized message only. So that's one. And then authentication method. So authentication method is nothing but, for an example, for the reality live example, if we are logging in the Microsoft app or something authenticated app, it will give a authentication, like you need to log in via text, or you need to log in via authenticated app, or you need to log in via call. So this kind of authentication app is needed when it comes to server. And then data exchange format for secure communication. So data so we need to exchange the format for a secure communication, but we are not sure where it will be. So in that time we need to go with this one. So we knew about it's in a client server architecture, but in between we already knew in previous slide we could see it has the bridges. So what is the bridge? What the bridge contains? We are not sure, but we need to know. So here that API also is including. So we know API means what? It will give a request and it will give a response. This one. But we have a partially information only, but combined together, we are not sure what it will go. So here the answer is first it has authentication layer, and second it has data exchange layer, and third it has security layer. So whenever it comes, the request will accept from the server, I mean from the client, and the response will accept. So based on request and response only, we are going to get the all the things. That's what MCP has a client and server model where an AI architecture believes. So apart from that, what is the usage of that? That means it's a resource discovery also we can use, and tool invocation and data stealing all happen to well defined MCP specification, because without MCP we are not able to do these kind of things. And this, so what are the core components of deep tech? So we need to know what are the core components of. Just a minute. So what are the core component deep tech in the sense it has many things. So it has many things. So the first one is resources. The second one is tool. The third one is prompt. So we know it has three components. So first one is a resource, second one is a tool, third one is a prompt. What is the usage of these three? And what I will get using this type. So when it comes to resources, we already seen it has the external data sources like a database, file system, or web API that MCP servers can expose to the client. So no, right. Whenever it's come to the assured things or any other things, the resource is mandatory, because without resource we can't move. That's what he is saying. So when it comes to resources in simply manner, we are believing that is it has a database, it's a file system or web API. These things only we are getting. And second one is tool. So what is the tool? We already know it's one of the components. So what is the tool? So tool, it's executable function that a model can invoke through MCP to perform action or retrieve specific information. So, in the simple manner, we can see whenever it has some tools, the tool is using to do some other activity for a client or user. So, it's also one of the uh, what to say key feature. It's performing all those things on behalf of user, behalf of customer. That's what we are saying. And third one is we have resource. Okay, because it's a backend thing we need to get. We have a tool because this is the intermediate things which is bringing an answer from the resources. And what is the main thing? So what is the main thing and what is the main key features to access this tool? Because without these steps, these tools and resources can't help us. So what is that? That important thing is prompt. When it comes to AI, you all know prompt is the very important thing. That is the heartbeat of the AI. That is the prompt. So what is the need to use prompt, and why are we using prompt in that MCP? That's the question. So it's a reusable prompt template that can be dynamically populated with the context from the connect resources. Because when it comes to prompt, I already informed you, right? When it comes to chatbot, the user can give the basic information. For an example, loan, what chatbot will ask, what's your loan? I mean, a loan number. And then what's your bank? Then when did you take the loan? So this kind of static question only it will ask. So as per the question, our things will give, right? So for an example, if not for only one user, when it comes to one uh, what to say, when it come to a common thing, the questions are very common, but the users and the clients are different, because a number of users can use that chatbot, but the question will not change. So for that reason, we are using reusable prompt template that can be dynamically populated with the context from the connected resources. So we are going with these things of things. So Uh, in short manner, we can see it has three components. First one is the prompt, tools, resource. So using these three, the MCP is going on. Just a minute, I will change the slide. Okay. So next one, we all know that is the core component. Then what? We are getting the answer, but what about my security? This is the main thing all the people will ask. Because without security, we can't use, we are not able to use, right? So, but when it comes to MCP, it doesn't have any other barrier. So, why? What is the implementation? So, what is the correct answer to get all those things up? That is, first one is, see, it's MCP implementer OR 2.0, the API key custom authentication scheme to ensure secure access to external resources. Because that you know, right, when it comes to API keys, it's a unique key and it's very fundamental to protect all your data. So for these things, MCP is implemented all these things. So there is some no question for your access on the external resources and encryption also in it because we can get sensitive data from the databases. So at the time, what are we going to see? What are we going to use? So in this part, what we are doing means all communications are encrypted with TLS SSL protocol with additional message level encryption for sensitive data. We can go with normal data. It's nothing worry on that, so it's no barrier as well. But what about the sensitive data? Because in few cases we are going to use sensitive data as well. Sensitive data is nothing but right, a personal information like name, gender, age. So this kind of we are going to use. So when it comes to here, it has TLS and SSLS protocol. So there is nothing on that. And third one, it has fine-grained permission and role-based access controller to ensure the AI model only access authorized resources and tools. So it has the fine-grained permission because nowadays we are not sure which website is authorized, which website is not authorized. We are not sure. But when using that MCP, we are giving 100% assurance that is it's working on authorized resources and tools only because it has that role-based access control to ensure the AI model. So, so it has nothing on that. So when it comes to authentication and security framework, it has OAuth 2.0 and API key and custom auth. So no. So when it comes to customer also, we are going to customize our art based on hard energy. And second thing, the protocol is mustard, so it has a second layer as well. When it's come to third one, it has admin, user, and guest. Just a minute. So it has admin, user, and guest. So in that part, we can go with all those things. So using these three, we are going to use MCP without any other things. Okay. Another one is implementation pattern and best practice. We all knew it has the core component. What is the definition core component? And if you are using, there is no barrier to get all this access. So we all know. Then we want to know about this practice, right? So implementation pattern and best practices we want to know. So we will see in that deep level. So it's nothing but it has client and server implementation. So when it comes to client integration, It has major AI platform like Claude, GPT, and local models can connect to MCP client libraries. So we are going this way. So see AI platform, and in AI platform in the sense we have MCP and SDK as well, and here custom service and custom service. So we can go with this kind of integration for our client. Okay, we are new that is thing. And what about the server implementation? Server integration we want to know. So when it comes to server, here they are using SDKs in Python or TypeScript or build custom server following the specification. So it's nothing but whenever you want, you can go with listings. Whenever you don't want, you can go with see resource management. So the resource management also is nothing but it implement a proper connection pooling, rate limiting, and error handling for a production department as well. We are go with. So how are we to going with in a simple things we are getting. So for a server setup and a client connection and resource registration, because I already informed you, right? Without resource we can't go with. So when it come to server, we need to initialize the server. So you know, right, that is the const server, that is the name, object name, and new mcp dot server. So what are the server you have? That means you need to inform your port and your name of the server. So here I am using port 4000 and my server name I have just initialized name equal to, I mean name colon my mcp server. So server setup is done. And then client connection we need to do. So client connection is nothing but the same coding we need to use. The first one is const client. So however we are creating for a server the same things we are going to use. So this is for initializing new things, right? For this line eighth line, for initializing new things we are going to write this kind of thing. So const client, the same thing here, because we are creating new. So here mcp, because mcp we are going to put mcp dot client, because in above we are using server, in below we are using client. So client. So for server, we need to give port number and name. And what about client? For client, we need to give that localhost port number fully. So if you see here, we need to give this one, this URL. And after that, okay, we have created server, we have created client as well. Then we need to give a connection between those two things, right? So then only it's able to go things. So here await, await in the sense you already know, right? So await in the sense if you put that await keyword until or unless it doesn't have any connection, it's still waiting. And after that only it will go to the connection. So it's waiting until the connection is happened. So await client, because we are using this client only, right? So client dot connect. So we are using server setup and then we are done client connection as well. Then what about registration? That means resource registration, we need to put that one as well. So here how are we going to do the things in the mean? So we have done the client connection, but server registration we need to do, because this resource will be connecting with the server only. So server dot register, server server dot register, then list of resources, and then asynchronous. This is the default thing while we are writing the code. And then so if it's connecting with the server, what I am giving means I need to get the resources, because it has a multiple resource means I need to decide which resources I need to use for my project. So these things only we are using. So the implementation patterns is nothing but first thing we need to connect a server setup, second we need to connect a client setup, third we need to connect a resource registration. Using these three we are able to access the things in mcp. Okay, so real world use cases and application we need to see. So real world application use case, why we need to see real world use cases and application? For an example, it has some many things in that, but in my project I want to use mcp. At the time what I need to do, so at the time Can I go with the MCP or can I go with the other state? So if I want to know about many things only, I can decide which things is useful for my project. So for that reason only, we are seeing that real world use cases and application. The first we are using that database integration because every in this world each and everything is running in database only. For an example, when it comes to mobile phone, this number as registered in this the mobile phone company, and that when it comes to WhatsApp, so we are accommodating all those things in this data in the storage of WhatsApp. So each and everything, if you are going with the bank domain, also you are putting all those details. You are they are sharing all those history in that. If you are going uh, a hospital also, they are collecting all the things. So in this world each and everything it's running on the database, it's running on the data. So in that part, if we are using that database integration, we are going with. So how it works? So AI models querying customer databases and inventory system and analytics platform in real time. So the database integration, it's useful to get the customer databases because we want to know about all those things in the database for a customer. We can't ask each and everything with the customer, right? We need to get all those things in database, and inventory system we are going to use for that, and analytical performance. I mean analytics performance for this analytic platform in the real life. We need to use that, and API orchestration. So what is orchestra? So it's nothing but when AI agent calling multiple web services and processing responses and chaining operations automatically. So when it comes to MCP, we can't go with a single thing. It's working in a parallel execution and multiple web services. So without having any hesitation, without having any time boundary, we can go with the multiple web services and processing responses and chaining operations automatically. It used to save your time, it used to save multiple times. So you can go with the speeder faster for your thing. And third one, file system access. So what is file system access? So just a minute before only I have informed all those things. So the first thing is file system access. So AI models is everywhere in that world, but we need to get all those things knowledge in that file system access. So how are we going that? So if you are going with the database means we can go with the database, so we can go with the file system as well. We can go with the file system. So it's nothing but it's a model reading document. So document, it's nothing but a prescription, description, and whatever you are giving, all those things, invoices, all those things is are handling the document and processing file. So it should analyze the file. So after that, it processes the file and generating report from organizational data. So when it comes to medical department, when it comes to many other department, the data is somewhere. So it has file system access as well. So in a simple manner, MCP is everywhere. It doesn't have any other barrier to go with the single things. It's relevant in all those things in that part. So we knew that the current situation, but advanced configuration and optimization also is there. And what about that? I want to know those things means we can go with this one. So in this part you can see performance metrics, and here you are able to see that caching statics file. And the right side we are seeing connection pool visualization, and fourth one we are seeing a scaling control. So how are we going to define all those things in part? When it comes to performance matrix, see, it's throughput and the latency and resource utilization also there. So if you see means that is the what to say, low level, high level, and medium level. Latency also we are achieving much better. And see resource utilization. So resource utilization also, you know, right, Ashur? You can use what you, I mean, you can pay what you use. So those things we can go with. And catching statistic. So what is catching statistic? If you see here means it has high, right? So it has 92 percentage hit on that. 8 percentage only miss, because miss is everywhere. But we are able to get 92% predictable things when it comes to our project thing. So we are checking other things also we can go with, because this 8% is nothing but we are losing somewhere. So some things we have missed in that previous thing. So based on that only it will give, but it will give the solution to fix that as well. So there is no much on that worry on that if you get this missed path. So whatever you get, you just go through that, you just analyze that. After that you are able to see all those things in your part. And then connection pool visualization. See, connection pool is the blue color is referred as the active and the red color referred as the idle. So the pool size is 120, here the pool size is 100. So it's nothing bad. We can go with visualization model as well. And then fourth one, important thing, that is scaling control. Scaling control is nothing but we need to scale all those things, right? Whether it's okay to go with, whether it's need to reduce this, other it's okay, it's moderate. We are going with this one. So we are not sure how are we going to work, but we need to have eye on that part. So the first one is scaling control. So scaling control is nothing but it's a load balancer. So the load balancer will give the balance of how much the load you put in your part. So it will get all those things in correctly. So how are we going to resolve? The first one is auto scaling trigger. Second one is failover mechanism. So if you are using these things in automation process as well, you are able to go with auto scaling triggers. So without auto scaling triggers, um, for an example, I have one project, but in that project auto scaling trigger is not happening. At the time what will go, so it's automatically go for failing, I mean failover mechanism. So failover mechanism we can check. So we can check from that we can get it correctly. And so we have seen live technology, we have seen advanced technology, but we are not sure 100% we will get correct thing. Sometime in everything, in every project, sometime we will get a troubleshooting and common challenges. So here we are going to see, suppose if I get anything means how are we going to achieve that? In the previous I have seen that if we get a 8%, for example, just a minute. Huh, right? That 8%. So the 8% which is happened, so how are we going to retrieve that? So in that part, we are going to see that troubleshooting and common challenges. So how are we going to do that? So the first one is connection issues. Second one is performance problem. Third one is security consideration only it has. So connection is it, how it will happen? Suppose debug network connectivity we can go with, authentication failure maybe happens, and protocol version mismatches it will give. So if it's debug network connectivity, what we are going to do? Uh, we need to utilize the other network and we need to go with, and we need to performance problems means it's nothing but identify a bottlenecks in resource access images. Okay. So, so it's a debug network connectivity, authentication failures, and we are using that. And second one is performance problem. So performance problems is nothing but it's identifying bottleneck in resource access, because bottleneck in resource access, you know, right? So it doesn't have a more resources to work with our things. So in that case, we need to identify the bottleneck, because for that reason only it feels that performance problem, and then optimize query pattern and implement a proper caching, because in that every situation without a cache clear it doesn't give any other proper thing. So at the time we need to do all those things done. And that security consideration. So what is security consideration? So when it comes to security consideration means you are able to see, right? So it's validate the input data and implement proper error handling and add it access logs for security complaints as well. So in that message you can see, right? So access authorized, info data integrity verified, so resolved, and then the connection successful, authenticated protocol method. So optimized performance as well, we are able to see stable metrics and its result are stable. So this kind of things only we are getting. So in that also we are we are getting the resolution status to verify all those things. So using that we are able to do all those things. And how are we going to do? So this is the things you need to building your MCP ecosystem. How are we going to do building our MCP ecosystem? So it's nothing but we need to go with, I mean, we need to start with simple resource connection, because if we are going with the high level risk, we are not able to go with many things. So in that certification, how are we going to do? So just a minute. So suppose if you are a fresher or a experienced person, no matter on that, when it comes to MCP, just for initial level, you need to create a simple things only with a simple resource connection. Just a minute. So we need to thanks for your passion. So we need to go with the simple resource connection. Why we need to go with the simple